Well, oh well, it's time for Counter Gets Angry at Spinning Tops yet again. Uh, this one I'm not as angry about, although I do have to say that it has definitely been overhyped for what it is. Now, I will not say it's a bad release. I won't say it's a good one. But we have Crimson Garuda. I have two different paint jobs for it. And, Crimson Garuda, well, it is obviously the drawn to reference Beyblade. It is the 4th, 5th, 6th Bakugan Bay. And it is, well, owned by a literal toddler. So, let's go over this. It is a balanced type Beyblade with a combo of 470 trans points. Let's go over the blade. Blade is legit just a Hell's Chain gimmick, where depending on the height, it hits differently. People have been saying this blade is the second coming of Shark Edge. I heavily disagree because of the weight range of this thing. It's lighter than Shark on average. Not only that, it doesn't hit as hard. Plus, my testings have not been too kind to it, but I do have to say, it is a decent design, but it's definitely nowhere near as good as people claim. 470, we all know how I feel about 470 heights, just slightly worse 60. Transpoint, here we go, here's the fun part. There's 3 different molds of transpoint. One where the point is too tall, one where the point is too short, which is this one, and one where the point doesn't make a difference, which is the other one, which I won't be using, because I want to actually have some point performance. So, the entire gimmick with transpoint is that when it is first put on the Beyblade, it is a 60 height, and when you twist it, when it's dashing, it'll turn from a 60 height to an 80 height now. Even though it's on a 70 ratchet, but, you know, the details. But the height change also does come with some flaws. It does have slightly weakened burst resistance when the mode is changing. And by slightly weakened, I mean it bursts instantly. On a 60 height, it doesn't lose any burst resistance when it is in tall mode or low mode. However, I have noticed something else. In 70 heights, it does lose some tightness on tall mode. And on 80 heights, it loses all tightness on tall mode. Highly concerning. Obviously, you're not going to be using transpoint on 70s or 80s, but I figured I might as well still talk about that, as it is something I noticed. We're obviously going to be running it through the average gauntlet, so the first bay it's going to be facing up against is actually the bay that is claimed to be the second coming of. I would say if Crimson Garuda was released around the same time as Hell's Chain, it would have been good. Like, it would have been a good pickup. We're going to go from attack, balance, to defense, to stamina. I do have to say, I really like the colors on the gear chip. The gear chip looks amazing. I can't even lie. A lot of people say it's the weakest design out of the gear chip, which I would disagree with. Okay, there we go. It's in tall mode. I would disagree that it's the weakest. I would honestly argue that black shell is weaker, but it definitely struggles. Now, the main thing it struggles with is actually acting like point. Also bursting. Yeah, when you're dashing with transpoint, you're putting yourself at huge risk. Alright, let's switch over to Phoenix Feather now. I have to say that out of all of the bays of the recent releases at the time of this video going up, I have to say I love Crimson Garuda. It's my, or well, I wouldn't say, I like it, but it's not, you know, it's my least favorite. It's my least favorite. Definitely my least favorite. I just think BX is a little boring at this point. Feel like it should have been UX, but that's just me. Could have made it a little heavier, a little bit more options, you know. Could have actually, okay. So let's talk about a little thing I kind of dropped in the middle of when I was talking about it, which is my testings weren't too kind to it. And what do I mean by that? let me tell you what I meant by that. What I meant by my testings have been too kind to it is it bursts to not only stock Rhino Horn, but to stock Shinobi Shadow, stock Savage Bear, stock Shinobi Knife, and even stock Knight Shield. I did not upload that recording, as I physically could not bring myself to. Gonna be moving over to Drawn Sword. I felt like that recording was too cool. Especially since I had just recently got it. Alright, that's an actual extreme finish form. There we go. But I am not fond of this thing's performance. There it goes. Yep. I am not fond of it. At all. A lot of people really hype it up. Probably because, you know, it's Dronzer. But I just don't like it. And I know I'm going to get hate for that, but I don't like it. Yeah, the height change is cool and all, but it would have been cooler if it didn't affect burst resistance. Up next, Drawn Dagger. I feel like this release could have been done better. Overall, out of the November releases, I do have to say that it is one of the more well put together ones, considering some of the other things we got in November, which we'll get into when I get to that video. But, I will have to say, it's one of the better Bakugan reference bays. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get heat for that one. It's one of the better Bakugan reference bays. What I mean by that is it looks it's probably one of the best looking. Not only that, it's got an actual uniqueness to it. I don't like a lot of the Bakugan reference bays. Really, the main two I love are Silverwolf and Cobalt Drake. Damn. Cobalt Drake and Silverwolf I've loved because they're good look good, have uniqueness to them, and they are just overall powerful. I would have to say that a lot of Bakugan reference bays have more of a niche usage to them. Alright, up next is Tyranno Beat. But I would say they are niche because they don't really have mainstay usage. Now, I need to clarify, obviously Cobalt Dragoon has mainstay usage because of Elevate and Glide and all that shit. I have to say that as somebody who's tested Cobalt Dragoon comparative to other left spin X Beyblades that are around the same scale as Takara, because yes, I made customs that are on scale with Takara, surprisingly. That is my UX line of customs that are on scale with Takara. It's not that good. Like, the main use case it has is equalization. That is the only main use case it has. It is just a less spin Rhino Horn. That's all it is. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, but it's the Dragoon reference, babe. But it's Dragoon, but it's Dragoon. I'm sorry, but it's overhyped. Up next, Phoenix Wing. Whis Tiger, I would have to say, is actually a really cool design. I love it. But it's just not good. It tries to do everything and ends up being mid at it all. The bit, obviously, we all know what's wrong with the bit. It has the mold issues. Holy shit. And one bay that I don't really like, and a lot of people seem to love, is Black Shell. And the main reason I've seen people say they love it is because, oh, but it's turtle. Okay, and granted, turtles are cool. I know, they're cool, but it's not enough to hype it up as one of the best ratchet-grabbing blades. And it's not enough to hype it up as this ultra-cool Bakugan reference, you know, like hyperactive bay. You know, it's not enough to call it that for me. It's just not. Speaking of Bakugan, up next, Cobalt Dragoon. Black Shell, I do have to say, at least it had a cool bit. Dodge and KO. Or Extreme Finish, sorry. At least it had a cool bit. Dragoon, oh my god, I hate the ratchet. And the bit I've grown to like because of Tyranno Roar. You know, it's got good use on Tyranno Roar. But Dragoon, I'm not a fan of. I'm just not. And people are like, oh, but why? And I'm like, it's just Rhino Horn 2, and the only main use case it has is equalization. Like, it's not a good release. Especially with how many issues it had. Oh, that was ugly. But, Tim's and Garuda, I'd have to say, at least the name is cool. You know, Garuda. And one of the Hasbro names that I've seen floating around for it at the moment is Garnet Garuda. Which, if that's true, yes, please! Which, it sounds awesome. Garnet Garuda sounds great. Drawn Buster up next. The name scheming for Garuda just works. It works. Garuda is a very good name to use. And I also like how they chose Garuda, because the 0G box in Records Bay was Garuda for Drawn. It was Guardian Garudas, I believe. So, you know, it's nice to see Garuda. I do have to say that one thing that a lot of people don't talk about is the shape. Because it's just Imperial Dragon. It is legit just Imperial Dragon. Okay, Drawn Buster. Okay. The shape is just, you know what? Let me get my Imperial Dragon just so I can show you this shit. Because it is just Imperial Dragon. And it's aggravating me because so many people are like, oh, it's such a unique shape. Oh, it's something we haven't seen before. No! It's Imperial! And actually, now thinking about it, it kind of has that like performance tip gimmick as Imperial. Like, Imperial's supposed to switch around his performance mid-battle. Garuda changes performance mid-battle. Alright, on to the balance types. Let's go Whale Wave first. Oh my god, I love to dig in and dissect so many of these opinions that the main Beyblade community has about these things. Because I just heavily disagree with most of them. Like, a lot of them I have to disagree with. Like, people have been saying the anime's getting better. And the plot's getting better. I have to disagree on that shit. Like, it's just not. It's not. I'm sorry, but it's not getting better. But, oh, Bird's winning. Yeah, but he's not getting actual wins. He's getting semi-wins, or, like, points. And then people will be like, oh, but he won. But no, he didn't. He just got a point. You know, like, I disagree with a lot of the main consensuses about Beyblade X with this community. And that's fair. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. I won't shit talk you for your opinion. Not like other people will. But people claim that Beyblade X is the best generation of the entirety of Beyblade. As somebody who's been through 3 generations now, being MFB, Burst, and X, and somebody who's messed around with Plastic Gen, I've messed around with Plastic Gen, I have to disagree. Leon Crest on point, up next. I have to disagree that Beyblade X is the best. Granted, the Extreme Dash is very nice. It's a very nice game. But I have to disagree that it's the best. I think that with what Takara tried to do with Beyblade X, trying to take the best out of each generation and using that to try and make a unique name for itself, I feel like it failed. Because when you look at what it took from each generation, the other gens did it better. You know, it's a Whis Tiger situation. It tried to be all 3, but it didn't do well at all of them. You know, when you try to put all your stats let's put it like this. Let's say you're trying to build a stat deck, right? Trying to build a stat deck, you put everything equally into let's say you put everything equally into every single stat. Up next, tells Hammer. You're not gonna be good at all of them. You're just gonna be kind of okay at all of them. You're not gonna be good at them all. You're gonna be, if you're trying to go for something in particular, you gotta focus on that. You gotta heavily focus on that. Like, I think when they were trying to make this, like, oh, so serious, like, oh, it's trying to be a sport, oh, it's trying to be this, it's trying to be that, which is hella funny considering the Asia Championships. That shit didn't go well, especially, you know, considering that ruling. I just don't see it. You know, I think a lot of the things that this gen's been trying to do, other gens do better. Not gonna shit on X. I do think it has its flaws, but I'm having my fun with it. You know, like, I'm having fun dissecting the system and breaking it down to its core components and then using that to make better and better customs, you know. Like, I've been able to get to TT weight scales, yet my TT weight scale base can beat out some of the heavy-ass, you know, BX customs, which is kind of crazy. Alright, up next, Hell's Psych. But this gen has a lot of flaws, too. And I know me saying that is going to get me shit, because I actually got into a lot of drama with somebody, because I ended up saying that Beyblade X has flaws, but every generation has flaws. Every gen. With Burst, it was teeth and you know, constantly changing systems. With MF, okay, there it goes. With MFB, I feel like it was the lack of innovation. With Plastic Gen, it was the lack of durability over the long term. Like, each generation has its flaws. No generation is perfect. There's none. Like, even my favorite system... Oh, holy shit. Even my favorite systems. Like, even my favorite systems. With Beyblade, which are HMS, Zero G, and Dynamite Battle. HMS obviously has compatibility issues. Like, a lot of them. Because, you know, there was so many years of compatibility, and then out of nowhere, you completely switched the system, and it's no longer compatible. You know, you had all these cool gimmicks, you were building off engine gear and Magnacore, and then you just suddenly go to these tiny-ass little metal bays, and it's like, yeah, it's a cool system, but it's like, I want to use my old stuff, too, you know what I mean? But, okay. With Zero G, it's a similar issue, but I also feel like there's a lack of innovation in the parts. Like with not the blade, not the metal wheels, not the, you know, none of that. I feel like the designs were finally getting unique in Zero G, but the part usage was really repetitive from, you know, the original MFE. Alright, Hell's Chain. And then with Dynamite Battle, you know, you had some compatibility issues, a little bit, but not really. But then you had insane power creep, literally within the same system. Within the same system, we spanned through like 5 different variations of the competitive. That's a little much, man. Not only that, the entire system was supposed to be small, little bays, but... yeah. Okay, shit. It was supposed to be smaller, downsizing bays, but no, that didn't happen. That did not happen. Not at all. I honestly think we're going to cut the testings a little shorter. I won't do the rest of Balance, which was Unicorn, Sting, Leon, Claw, and... you know what, I'll cut it down to the bare essentials because this video is getting long. Because, you know, it's a Balance bay. But... I do have to say that I feel like Beyblade X, it's okay. But it's not great. Alright, let's do Night Shield. Let's do Night Shield, we'll do Rhino Horn and Black Shell. And then we'll do Silver Wolf, Rod, and Light. Okay. But I do have to say that Crimson Garuda, overall, while it can perform well, I feel like the parts needed a little more time. The parts need a little more time to cook. You need a little bit more time to cook on this one. I feel like it was rushed. Holy shit, okay. I feel like the height change system could have been rethought and, you know, reworked a little bit more. I feel like the blade itself needed a little more time to cook. And I feel like that the ratchet choice was just flat out wrong. Like, 470, I feel like it could have been better. Like, I feel like it could have had a new ratchet. It really could have. It should have. It feels like they wanted to put 070 on it, but decided to save 0 for Ghost. Alright, Rhino Horn. Oh boy. I would say that this release is... let's think about this one. Oh my god, tie. I would say that it's a... I would say it's in the middle ground. I would say it's a 5 out of 10. You know, it's not good, it's not bad, but... You know. Could have been better. Oh my god. Could have been a lot better. But it definitely could have been worse. So we could have had another Rhino Horn on our hands, which it seems like we're about to have with Ghost. Black Shell. Teammate versus teammate. How funny. Oh my. Yep. And it was in the middle of a height change too. Oh my. Okay. Something funny I'm also just now realizing is the fact that 4 has now been used for the Plastic Gen reference base 3 times. 3 has been used 2 times. 2 has been used 1 time. And then now we're about to get 9. I just find that funny. We've had so many reused rackets that it... Oh my... You know... Come on, man. The jokes write themselves. I was talking shit about Black Shell earlier, and it's losing for the way I've been shit-talking all video. Both Battle of Mid and Mid wins. Who could have seen this coming, that Mid wins over Mid? Alright, Wizard Rod. This one, yeah, it's cooked. Sorry, Garuda, but you're about to be curb stomped. Also, the height change. Oh my god, does it kill stamina. I hate it. If you want to see more of these videos, just go watch the other ones. I plan on releasing these whenever I can. Hopefully every once in a while. Obviously, I'll go back and do some older ones, older bays, but right now, as time of the recording, I've only done El Drago and Silver Wolf, which, El Drago, oh my god, I hate El Drago. The remake is, which, funny thing, I have made a custom paint job for, so, enjoy the black El Drago. Up next, Silver Wolf. But I do have to say that currently with X, I feel like we're in a bit of a weird period. Because we're in a period where it's trying to reference the other generations. It's trying to build itself up. But it's just feeling weird. You know, like we're in a teenage stage of this generation. Like, you know, we're getting closer to the end. That's what it feels like. So, I do have to say that while Crimson Garuda is cool, it needed more time to cook. I think I'm going to stop the video here, because I've said everything I need to say, shown everything I needed to. But, yeah, it's going to do it for me. See ya.